I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. My co-host on Political Beatdown, Michael Cohen, filed a critical motion this week as Donald Trump tried to harass Cohen in the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case against Donald Trump. Donald Trump brought a subpoena, duces tecum, a subpoena for documents against Michael Cohen, a very intrusive one, asking to confiscate Michael Cohen's phone, asking for Michael Cohen's emails, all of his documents, his financials, things having nothing to do with the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case. But Donald Trump's trying to send a message. I believe it's tantamount to witness intimidation. Tell me what you think in the comments below. But here, Michael Cohen tells us exclusively at the MeidasTouch why he brought this motion to quash, what he believes Donald Trump is trying to do to him. And in this clip, Michael Cohen also comments how Jeff McConney, the former controller of the Trump organization, who Cohen knew when he worked for Donald Trump, how McConney broke down, started crying while on the witness stand. And Cohen talks about this is what Donald Trump wants to do, throw others under the bus, ruin everybody else's life. He said Donald Trump doesn't give a crap. And you see it, he says McConney, guy 6'3", Donald Trump size, definitely not 215 pounds, but McConney breaking down, crying on the witness stand as well. But let's take a listen to what Cohen had to say about the motion to quash subpoena duces tecum that was lodged by Donald Trump in the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case against Donald Trump. Play the clip.
Going to this motion to quash, you may remember when I received it, you, my brigaders, were actually the first to know on that as well. But in the motion, it's the subpoena, duces tecum, which is for documents, some of the crazy things that Donald actually asks for. Well, number one, he wants to take a look at my cell phone. He wants all communications. When I say all, I'm talking about all communications, every single email, text, blah, 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 from 2017 all the way to the present. On top of that, he wants transcripts, notes, emails, texts, tapes between me and former current prosecutors on behalf of the staff of or the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, including ADA Mark Pomerantz, Detective Rosenberg, U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, FBI. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Then he also wants taxes of mine. He also wants, from January of 2015 to the present, documents sufficient to identify all the clients that I was working with. He wants, I mean, this is really unbelievable. All the copies of all of my manuscripts for both of my books, both Disloyal as well as for Revenge. The first thing that happened was the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, they filed a motion to quash. This is, forget about overbroad, it's unduly burdensome, and it also lacks relevance. One of the things that we talk about in my motion to quash, which you can read, it's actually up online. One of the things that we talk about in our document is the fact that I'm not the defendant here. Donald is. And what he's doing is he's acting as if he's government. The government would ask you for things like this. They would then get a subpoena to mirror your phones, your electronics, and so on. Donald is not the government. Somewhere along the line, this guy doesn't even know that he's the defendant in the case. I am a subpoenaed non-party witness to that case. There is no relevance to any of the information that he's asking for, he or his lawyers. And so, again, the DA already put their motion to quash in. Ours was just filed literally 30, 35 minutes ago. My brigaders, you are the first to know that it's there. And short of that, there's no doubt in my mind that the bulk of this, if not all of this subpoena, will be dismissed. So happy about that. The only problem, and I want everybody to remember this is a nonstop battle. Every single time that something goes on with Donald, it is always against me. We just finished, for example, the $500 million lawsuit where he walked away from it. And as soon as that was over, then I got this subpoena, duces tecum. But before that, there was another action that was filed, then another, and then another. And this is what Donald does. They wear you down emotionally. They wear you down physically. They wear you down financially until ultimately you say, I can't do this anymore. Look at what happened with Jeff McConney today. Now, just to give you an idea, Jeff McConney is roughly the identical size in height and weight to Donald. And here, this 6'3" and not 215, this 6'3" guy is breaking down on the stand. He can't take it anymore. You know, he's once in a while. I was just doing my job. I was filling in. I was doing the banking statements. I was putting, reconciling bank accounts, moving money from here to there. How all of a sudden is he now the subject of X, Y, and Z, possibly being investigated himself by the Southern District? We don't know that. Everybody, including Adam Klasfeld, reached out to me to say, hey, do you know anything about this? Which I don't. But that's the Trump playbook. It's to wear everyone down while simultaneously sending a message, a very clear and concise message to anyone who's willing to testify or to acknowledge a valid subpoena to get you to testify. Anyone that's going to do that, you are going to be the recipient of Donald's ire and lawsuits and subpoenas and so on, to the point where just financially you start to choke and it's just constantly on your head, including a $500 million lawsuit. So it is a warning shot across the bow, so to speak, to anybody that's willing to work with government and holding Donald Trump accountable. And it is exhausting.
And we saw that today, to your point. Jeff McConney, Donald Trump's former controller, was recalled to the stand in the defense case. As he was being asked questions by Donald Trump's lawyer, McConney broke down, hysterically crying.
He just doesn't care. It's all about protecting the king. That's how he sees himself, and that's how he expects everybody. He doesn't care if McConney is a divorced guy. He's got kids. I could understand the pressure that he's under. I don't think he's still working at the Trump Organization. So you could only imagine. It is basically impossible for anyone, myself included. Where do you find the job when you turn around and on the top of your resume it lists Trump? Not to mention, he's now a household name for people who are following this trial. I mean, this is now McConney's second time coming back. And each time that he comes back, he's getting destroyed on the stand. And he's also, at the same point in time, burying the Trump Organization. The cross on this was absolutely fantastic. From what I heard, I was speaking with a couple of reporters, some journalists that were in the courtroom, and they were like, you don't even have to say a lot. You have to ask the same questions that they asked the first time around. So, Mr. McConney, at some point in time, you filled out some forms for Alan Weisselberg. Is that correct? Yes. And can you tell us what were those items that you were filling in of the value, for example, of 40 Wall Street based upon the income for? Was that number correct that was given to you by Alan Weisselberg? And he says, no. So he goes, can you tell us how you got to that? Well, we presumed that we were going to sell out or rent, lease out all of the space, 1.26 million square feet of the building. And we also then took the highest price per square foot that was achieved so far to date, and then we multiplied it times what was the remaining left over, and that, of course, is how we came up with the number. And then we turn around, we figured out that there's a multiple in order to, if you were going to sell the property, excluding the fact that they don't own the land, it's a land lease property. So the whole thing is all fugazi, correct? And he'd be like, yeah, well, who told you to do it? Alan. Well, would Alan do that on his own, or would he have to sort of clear that with Donald? And of course, we all know the answer. He'd have to clear it because Alan wasn't authorized to do anything on his own. Everything had to be through Donald. And this is the whole problem. Yep. So why in the world, and I said this about Don Jr., I said it about some of the people that they decided to bring back, whether they're going to bring Eric Trump back. Why would you put your son in harm's way, knowing that he lies like a rug, right? That nothing that he says is going to change the outcome here. This is a dollars and cents case. They've already lost the liability. This is a disgorgement case. What benefit is it to have Don Jr. get up there with a PowerPoint presentation? All you're doing is opening the kid up to either a perjury trap or to have to provide testimony that's contrary to the position that you want. It made no sense to me, other than the fact that once again, Donald is willing to sacrifice his kids for his own protection. He's willing to sacrifice McConney for his own protection, the same way he sacrificed me in order to protect himself. Plain and simple.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.